I was asked to do an RSA about the days when I wrestled with the TXW, Totally Extreme Wrestling, back when I was about 15 till I was 19. So it was a little backyard rinky-dink promotion, and well, the whole thing started when I was wrestling with some friends that was called the STW, Strokey Tope Wrestling, and they gave me the company to keep it afloat, and it just I had free reign to do whatever I wanted, and it seemed like at the time everything was not up to their standards, and they kept interfering and everything to make it interesting. And I was slowly building it up so I can get a niche of what to do. So technically, at that time, I was a wrestler slash promoter, and like I said, it was backyard, a bunch of kids. So I at the time I was known as No Gimmicks, and just got tired of being someone I wasn't at that age, because I had names like Markov the Mutilator and Star Brawler, and you name it, I probably was that character. Johnny White Trash and Jimmy Gerard. I had like so many characters I was portraying. Just kind of felt like I was being a joke. And to my understanding, which I was told, there was a kid named Ahmad Latif. He says, "Well, you wouldn't have gotten in this thing if it wasn't for me." And I looked. I'm like, really? I pretty sure I have some decent talent. I've done stuff that no one thought I'd expected me to do. So one day we had a show, and unfortunately, I had two phone lines. So I did something like, "Hey, I got an idea. I'm going to call in, and I'm going to be a different character." And they're like, "Okay." Rowdy Rampage was created, and I did the first appearance of Rowdy Rampage saying, "I bought your talent, and I'm coming after you guys." And when they all left, it was a heated little thing. Probably about 10 minutes after I left, it was our first show, and I came out. I was wearing, you're going to laugh at this, I was wearing Zubas and a Taz shirt. Just being me before I actually got the actual No Gimmicks character the way I envisioned him. And I had characters like Disco Ahmad and the Flying Latifs, the Carjack, Grant F. Auto, Scotty Valentine, Boof, and the Mesmerizer, and Big Ron, and I. It was just a lot of fun. Cleek the Broken Inbred. So it was a lot of fun, and we did stuff like I came up with the first ever Arctic Blast match, and I was wrestling my I want to say boxers or boxer briefs, one of them. And after that match, I had pneumonia. The temperature up there was about 8 below, and it was snowing, and we built a ring out of the snow. And I also did a match of boxers versus briefs, which was me and boxer briefs being Rowdy Markov and our low budget character that was created. And I was going against Sexy Boy Bend Over, and he was in his briefs, and at least he was skinny enough to pull off the briefs, and it was great. He wrote on his underwear everything, but I came up with the concept of having a little stable. It was called the Brotherhood, which was Grand Theft Auto, No Gimmicks, Carjack, and there was a fourth one, and it was Assault and Battery, and we were supposed to be make like the NWO, making fun of them and making fun of DX being the most insubordinate guys kind of deal. And it was just a lot of fun. Most of the shows we did a lot of couldn't never get everyone around, so it's like we had to portray like 8 characters, and I was never a world heavyweight champion. And the sad thing is, I was always the street fighting champion. Now I was good with the street fighting division because I never cared about a belt, really. I just like getting in the ring, just pummel people, come up with my own moves. Like, I was doing pump handle power bombs. I was doing backflips off the deck, off a car, off a roof, and I did a lot of crazy stuff, and I just had fun with it, and I ran it, and I put everyone before me. That's the way I've always been. I've always looked at myself like, nah, you're not good enough for that, so have him do this, and you just stay over here. But it was a marvelous time. It was one of the greatest things I've done during high school. And I know there's a couple guys on this page that was friends of mine that was STW, like Buddy Mantrell, and that's about it from that company. Buddy Mantrell was the promoter of Strokey Tope Wrestling, and the guy who portrayed him was actually a genius, and I never really understood because I was a different breed. I short temper, short fused, and it's like, hey, let me do it my way. And it's like, no, 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 you have to do this. And now I can, over 15 years later, I actually understand that now. So, but the TXW was one of the greatest things I ever did. A lot of great matches, like the pool match. The pool matches I had, the put the person in the meat wagon match. My basement was the meat locker. The garage was the domain, and the backyard was the bullpen arena, and we called it the Markoff Estate. And the Rowdy Rampage stuff actually came up when I was doing newsletters that people were asking me about, just about the company and stuff. And his original name was Rowdy Hellfire or something like that. It's just another alias. I went through so many. I was just like changing people's names and stuff. And one day I just said Rowdy Rampage. That's perfect. So you'll see a lot of stuff with me talking about Rowdy Rampage because he was a good guy that became the bad guy. All he cared about was going to the Bunny Ranch, and you hear me say stuff like he's diseased. That's why he's wearing the bandanas and everything. But it was it was a lot of fun. I mean, you can, if the friends that talked me into doing this actually talked in a video of an actual true TXW video, you guys would have been like, you guys are just like dumb and stupid and all that. But you know what? We had fun. It was better than hanging on the street doing drugs or anything. And it was got us. Our friendships were built really strong with that, and the camaraderie was unbelievable. And to this day, I joke around saying I am going to do one more show. I'm going to do a reunion show, and that's never going to happen. Well, never say never, as everyone says, but I don't think that's going to happen. I actually had the opportunity to get a picture with the made TXW belt, and it's actually on my Facebook page. I look like a total tool. I'm wearing the mechanic shirt with the arms cut off, and I have a TXW cap on, and that was the character before this whole Rods thing happened. Rods happened completely by accident, but it suits me now than being known as No Gimmicks. But I still have that attitude of No Gimmicks. I just changed my name, changed the look, and just rolling with the punches and having fun. Because of all that TXW stuff, I mean, I've done promos playing around with like Bill Alfonso and my one of my best friends, Cherry Top. Just being me, having fun, and I just loved. I loved what I did. I understand. A couple of guys I talked to are still backyard wrestlers, and I understand where they're coming from, but I also understand that, you gotta go through training and everything. Back in my day, that was not an option for me. It was just like, well, let's do a show and see how we do. And we used to videotape them. And I wish I had those tapes. I don't know what I did with them. I think I may have thrown them out when I was moving. But kept some of the pictures, and I would have done an awesome whole true TXW thing. The TXW name actually started completely by accident. We had carpet padding, and I put it on a wall, and it was STW. Well, the S fell, and I had a flag that was shaped like an X, I got to be politically correct here because I don't want no one to, cry or anything. And that was up there, and they just looked at it and said, well, that's it, Totally Extreme Wrestling, and X marks the spot. It was our trademark. And that was just by accident. One of my friends says, I love it, let's go with it. And when I did the phone calls Rowdy Rampage, I had no idea what I was going to call it, and that just came up like 10 minutes into the first show. And like I said, if I had the tapes, had the photos, if everybody would just stop it, make a video or do a voiceover, this would have been a really good thing to talk about. But unfortunately, we all grew up, and especially, I haven't grown up yet. I still, have that thing where I'm going to do a show and everything, but it may happen, it may not. But I think it's seeing me in a ring, 4 posts and bed mattresses, and being in my little element, doing backflips, doing whatever I get, or anything I can do just to have fun, and just being me would be awesome back home. But like I said, unfortunately, none of that's going to happen. I had the opportunity to wrestle in a few wrestling rings, which, if they see this, I appreciate you guys letting me do that and have a little fun. And I wish I kept a video of that, of actually beating Buddy Mantrell in the middle of a certain company's ring, and then get my butt kicked because the referee was on a payoff. But that's all right. Like I say, it was fun. A lot of love and respect for everything that I did, for the guys that I had a falling out with, and I'm trying to mend fences, but I just don't feel like it's going to go anywhere. But the TXW, Totally Extreme Wrestling, was my life. I based everything around that, and I was told I had a good niche for the business from a couple of my friends, and now I look at it, sometimes I wish that I stayed with it and did like with some people I know actually did. I'm just, like I said, I'm a fan. I've done stupid things, and I've seen stupid things, and this is probably one of the most stupidest RSAs I've ever done, but I was told to talk about it and speak from your heart, and I'm speaking from my heart, but it's just, I'm not feeling it. That's the sad thing. I'm not feeling it with this. If my friends would actually had a chance to step up, like I said, I would have made an awesome one with a couple things they would talk about. But unfortunately, like I said, we all grew up. We all have our own lives, and we can't get together like we used to. But I will say this, Scarjack, you got something that belongs to me. I want it. It's going to look nice above my trophy room. It's going to be right by my fish. It's going to be right by my pictures of all the wrestlers I met. I want it. I want my shot. And I may be old. I may be falling apart. I may have bad lungs and not in condition. But I'm going to come after you with everything I got. But, nah, it ain't going to happen either. But, I just had to basically call out Carjack. Carjack was one of the... everyone says I was backbone and the heart and soul. I would say no, I wasn't. I was the guy that was the foundation of it, and Carjack was the heart and soul because I got to tell you a quick story about this cat. This cat was in a car accident, and he has metal rods in his legs, and I was so worried. I did not want him to do anything, but it's like, I'm not going to hold you responsible. Let me wrestle with you. And I was like, all right. Carjack did a hell of a job. He had a bunch of characters like Freak Master, Electrocution, and his name actually came from my mother. He came in and everyone was going, hi Jack, low Jack, and she said Carjack, and I looked at him and said, that's your new name, but he looked at me, he's like, I could make it work, and he did. He doesn't talk much, because he's just very shy on camera, but the stuff he did in the ring, stuff he let me try out and say, hey, that's how the pump handle power bomb came up. I was giving him a abdominal stretch, I picked him up, and I slammed him down, and he goes, dude, you got to put that in your arsenal. And I was like, oh, okay, and I've used it ever since. He was a tackling dummy. He was probably 125, 130 pounds soaking wet. He was still to this day, he's the undisputed champion. Over 15 years holding that title, still defending it, you know. And I'm lighting up because it's just, like I said, it's a lot of good memories that are coming up. And he'll always be the heart. He was one of the hardest working characters. I may have bumped heads with him, but I love him to death. I always say he's one of my adopted brothers. From a car accident, me getting worried, and he became world heavyweight champion, and I just kind of threw it at him, and he was actually facing me, and we got both got knocked out with the belt by Disco Ahmad, and I was like, you know what, just keep the belt. I don't care. I don't want a rematch. But to this day, he says, yeah, you want my belt? You want my belt? I'll give you a rematch. Disco Ahmad ain't going to be there. And I always say, I'm in a street fight, and you're going to be doing everything by the rules. And he's like, oh, whatever will get us ratings. You know, that was just him. Carjack, you have a lot of heart, man. You're one of my best friends to this day, and the stuff that we've done, you know, me and him were tag team champions, and he was the world heavyweight champion. I was street fighting champion. Also Karchak was the so-called porn star champion, and that was unbelievable. I made that title up as a joke one day, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna defend it," and he did. Scotty Valentine, which God bless him. In high school, he did a whole article about me twice in the high school paper about our company, but it was just my backyard and stuff. And I give him a lot of credit because he gave me the articles a few years ago, and I just misplaced them. I probably lost those too, but it was like a lot of cool stuff that we've all did. And he, in fact, made the first logo of the TXW. The kid has a lot of talent. Married, has a kid, and you know, I'm very proud of him too. I mean, we all grew up, we all doing our own things, but went our separate ways, and you name it, we did it. But I always say that to this day, we'll always have the TXW. It's like, I love what Scotty V would always say, you need to grow up, you need to grow up. Oh, I did, but when I mentioned about doing this, I thought it'd be kind of cool just to talk about it, but I kind of went all over the page on this one. The TXW was my baby, and if I win a lottery, I'll make a wrestling promotion. That's always my ongoing joke, but without those two that are still friends of mine I talk to, and they were two originals that I wanted to say, hey, you want me to do it? And they said, yeah, but if you guys stopped in on this one, it would have been more interesting than me babbling on. So, and in fact, I have a TXW cap somewhere. I don't know where it is right now. It's actually all beat up and everything. It looks like all this here is ripped apart. Back says no gimmicks. I was originally gonna use that for the video, but this has been my trademark cap ever since I've started doing these RSAs. And the RSA wouldn't be around right now if it wasn't for the TXW. That sounds pretty weird, but because it's all letters. But it was because of friends like Carjack and Scotty Valentine that keep me motivated to do certain things. And you know, we grew up together. Scotty V and I have known each other since kindergarten. Became one of my closest friends in first grade. Jack I've known since I was in fourth grade, and he became one of my closest friends, you know, in high school because he had a lot of issues. Like me and him, I hate to say this, and Carjack, I'm sorry to bring this up, ADD, learning disabilities, but when it came to wrestling, we're both on the same page. Like, yeah, let's talk about this, let's talk about that, let's do that. So TXW came in, and the SCW treated him like crap, and I just got fed up about it, and I was like, just hang out with me, we'll wrestle and stuff. And I always made him winner when it came to me. I think it was the with him being Sexy Boy Bend Over, I think that was the only match I won from it. I won. But this has been an RSA about the TXW and two of the closest friends that I wanted to talk about. And it's not one of my best ones, but I just wanted to get it off my chest kind of deal and talk about the good old days back in at these numbers 12, 13, the Markoff estate, and and just let them know if they watch this. I love you guys, and just some stuff's changed now, but to me, I think about the good times we've had. So, and if it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be where I am today. Still doing, watching wrestling and everything, and thinking about all the fun that we had. And I should have wrote this out. I was writing it. I was trying to write this whole thing out, what I want to talk about, and I said, screw it, I'm going to wing it and just. But. So Carjack, Scotty Valentine, no gimmicks, the Brotherhood, the TXW. So I just don't know what else to say about it. It was a life. It was us. We had fun, and now we're growing up. We're getting old. I mean, right now I'm 34 years old. They're 33, but we're all close friends, and we're getting old. Pretty soon I'll be walking around with a cane. No, I did it anyways. To be funny, but I'm Rats. This has been an RSA, the TXW RSA, talking about whatever I wanted to talk about with this, unscripted, looking like an idiot, but I don't care. I'm Rats. Peace.